Hello everyone, happy Friday. Here's some of what's heading your way tonight. Your News at 9. Going to tell you about some COVID-19 vaccine clinics for veterans being set up.
Billions in federal funding will be going to small businesses and restaurants from federal pandemic relief. I'm Zach Dodge with how it could impact our local area. Coming up.
Nick Kelly has weather. Jacob Leonard has sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Aubie. Authorities in Arkansas recovered the body of a man suspected of killing his mother in Vernon County, Missouri. A citizen found the body of Aaron Goodwin in a wooded area outside of Hot Springs, Arkansas, nearly 5 months after Goodwin was named the sole suspect in the Missouri murder case. Now, back in October, law officers found the decapitated body of Goodwin's mother, 63-year-old Connie Goodwin, in her Vernon County, Missouri home. Later that same day, police recovered the victim's head from the back of a pickup truck in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Through surveillance video, they discovered it had been put in the truck at a Hot Springs hotel the night before. Investigators say they had information indicating Aaron Goodwin might have committed suicide in a wooded area, but until they discovered his body, authorities had considered him at large. Authorities in Lawrence County, Missouri identify a woman who was killed by oncoming traffic on Interstate 44. Sheriff's office says the woman was killed on March 6th when she ran into traffic and was hit by a vehicle. They now say the woman had been missing from northern Missouri. Authorities are not releasing her name. Well, earlier today, a vaccination clinic was held in Nevada, Missouri for veterans of all ages. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky visited this clinic to understand how this vaccine clinic is different from the state's rollout.
A unique vaccination event occurred today in Nevada, one for veterans of all ages.
I feel like it's a privilege.
The Kansas City Veterans Affairs Center hosted a vaccination event specifically for veterans at Cody College. Christy Mears, chief of pharmacy for the Kansas City Veterans Affairs, says their vaccine rollout differs from the state's, meaning any eligible veteran can make an appointment with them.
We're very excited to know that we can offer it to any veteran of any age at this point. We're actually through the VA rollout. So that's separate than your state priority groups.
Mears says today they administered the 1-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which would be more convenient. Also very important is recognizing the groups of patients that would benefit from the first dose vaccine. So somebody who may have trouble coming back for the second dose, the amount of time that it takes to get somewhere. One veteran, Jeannie Moore, says having the one shot was an easier and more accessible option for her.
Because it is only one. And it's a privilege for us veterans to be offered that shot today.
Moore is the first person in her family to receive a COVID-19 vaccine. She says it's important in keeping her family safe and staying healthy for them.
It's important to stay healthy. My husband died when he was 60. And it was a big loss for me, and I don't want my family to experience that loss.
For Mears, having the vaccine available to our veterans is just one step in thanking them for their service.
They signed on a line to protect our country. That's the first and foremost reason why we're all here. So their focus on our freedom is something that we value every day that we go to work.
She says events like this would not be possible without partnerships with facilities in the community. In Nevada, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Officials hoped to vaccinate at least 150 veterans at today's event. Meteorologist Nick Kelly joining us now with the first look at the forecast. Kind of a dreary day.
Yeah, I don't see any big improvements for the rest of the weekend, Jordan, so we just try to make the best with temperatures for today. That high of 54 was actually at before 11 o'clock this morning at Joplin Regional, and the coldest we've been was 48 degrees, so not much of a spread in temperatures. But because of all the rain we've seen over the past few days, rain today, rain tonight, and rain still on the way, my goodness, a lot of green on the map. Flood watches, flash flood watches for everybody, and for some, flood warnings, especially on the US 54 corridor, taking us until noon tomorrow, all because of rain on the way and rain that we're seeing right now. A good cluster of moderate to heavy rainfall along the south of I-44, another cluster working along the Kansas-Oklahoma line with more moisture to come. We'll break this all down for you when we get a chance to dry out here in a bit, Jordan.
All right, Nick, thanks so much. Crawford County, Kansas commissioners lift some business restrictions. The county is seeing a decline in coronavirus cases. The county is rescinding Health Order 3 restricted activities. That includes business capacity and seating limitations, and mass gathering restrictions. That county's mask ordinance and mandate, however, is still in effect. Federal government will dole out billions of dollars in funds to support businesses impacted by this pandemic. President Biden signed the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan yesterday. Included is billions for the Paycheck Protection Program designed to help small businesses pay employees, and billions for a new program targeted directly at restaurants. KOAM Zach Dodge has details and the impact it could have locally.
From state lockdowns to local restrictions, restaurants have been hit perhaps the hardest by the pandemic. At Hometown Pub in Fort Scott, things are starting to get back to normal, but it's not quite the same.
We're not where we were this time last year, but we're making headway.
To stay open, homes had to apply for the Paycheck Protection Program twice.
When business was slow, we were still able to meet payroll. We used some of it for utilities or loan payments on the building.
In the first round, we assisted 68 businesses to the tune of about $1.6 million. With the second round, we've assisted 87 businesses for just over $1 million.
And with the passage of the American Rescue Plan, more than $7 billion has been added to the program, meaning Casper could get even more calls from shop owners wanting to apply.
There are those businesses out there that just don't know about it. And the stimulus packages as they've been passed keep gaining steam.
But that's only a small part of the funding set aside for local shop owners.
It's $28.6 billion.
The Restaurant Revitalization Fund is the first stimulus specifically for the restaurant industry, which, according to the National Restaurant Association, has seen 110,000 closures. The fund provides grants to restaurants equal to the amount of their pandemic-related revenue loss.
We've had some wins along the way. We've gotten things like PPP, but our goal has always been an industry-specific solution. And the passage of the Restaurant Revitalization Fund is a big step towards that.
And it should go without saying that Homes plans to apply as soon as the application process gets going. Things
are just so tough on small businesses right now. People are still scared. They're not getting out like they were before. They're starting to come back, but we still got a ways to go.
In Fort Scott, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Restaurant owners are going to have to apply directly through the Small Business Administration for grant funding. The application process, though, is still in the works, and the Paycheck Protection Program is set to end at the end of the month. The legislature is set to work on an extension next week. Webb City R7 School District is giving staff members a stipend for all of their extra work this past year, and really much deserved. Full-time staff receive $600, part-time staff get $300. District officials say they felt the staff deserved it because of their efforts to keep students safe at school and educate them online. As a parent, I agree. Doubts about a leading vaccine could hamper vaccination efforts abroad as the U.S. ramps up to more than 2 million shots every day. Fox News correspondent Steve Harrigan has more now from Atlanta.
Almost 100 million doses of COVID vaccines have been delivered in the U.S., and the program is still expanding. More than 33 million people have been fully vaccinated, about 10% of the population. And now the focus is turning to COVID strains. Moderna says it started clinical trials on the first vaccine targeting a COVID-19 variant, but it is still not clear if these boosters will be needed on an annual basis like the seasonal flu shot.
You will see mostly combinations of these antibodies as opposed to single ones, because the single ones are most vulnerable to the variants.
On Thursday, a number of European countries put a hold on using the AstraZeneca vaccine after several patients developed blood clots. But there's been no evidence so far linking the vaccine and the clots.
These are associated things rather than causal things. So the vaccine doesn't cause blood clots.
And as governors continue to ease COVID restrictions, there is a growing divide between state and local control. The Texas Attorney General is suing Austin's mayor after the city refused to drop its mask mandate. And city leaders in Baltimore say they won't follow orders from the governor allowing restaurants and bars to fully reopen.
Can we be any more frustrated? Probably not. This is not like last March. Now there's light at the end of the tunnel.
President Biden said Thursday every adult American should be eligible for the vaccine by May 1st. In Atlanta, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
A Chicago area school district canceling classes yesterday because so many of its teachers and staff called out sick after getting their second dose of the COVID vaccine. Fox's Dan Placco has this story.
A lot of my friends are very happy to have the day off, that's for sure.
The doors are locked and the hallways empty as thousands of Caneland school students get a surprise day off.
We did have 125 staff members that were out today.
Caneland Superintendent Dr. Todd Layden says many of those teachers and staff called in sick after receiving their second dose of the Moderna vaccine this week.
Some of the same symptoms that you're seeing as far as general illness, headaches, malaise, nausea.
And because the district didn't have enough substitutes to cover all that absent staff,
we did call an emergency day, and we will add one makeup day to the end of the school year.
Health officials say about 17% of people getting the second vaccine become ill, twice as many as the first shot. One doctor telling us he advises patients to be prepared to take some time off after the second vaccine.
These symptoms usually do not last more than 48 hours, and it's just best to err on the side of caution, ensure that your safety and the safety of others.
Caneland officials will decide tonight whether they'll be able to open schools tomorrow, and the superintendent says, yeah, it's a hassle, but it's a fair trade-off if it means the security of getting his staff vaccinated. In Kane County, Dane Placco, Fox 32 News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor one of our four-state heroes. Pastor Don Foster served in the U.S. Army from 1969 to 70, spending time in Vietnam. He earned a Bronze Star, also Vietnamese Cross of Valor. We are very proud to thank and salute Pastor Don Foster, a native of Cherryville, Kansas, by the way. He's tonight's four-state hero. Nick is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, CJ girls aiming to return to the state semifinals. The Bulldogs going to hear from the team in sports.
Cloudy skies, periods of rain. We've been seeing that since about the middle of the week, and we just saw that once again for today with our time-lapse of indigo sky just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Might have been some breaks in the action at times, but tell you what, underneath all the cloud cover, the stubborn cloud cover, we just got more rain that I'm pretty sure nobody asked for, and still more rain to come as we venture through the next few days. This is just today alone, the radar estimates in terms of how much rain we've seen. You see how the firing line, or the bullseye, if you will, right along and north of the US 54 corridor in a good pocket of 1 to 3 inches of rainfall from the Joplin Metro East. But ever since Tuesday or Wednesday, we've seen the amounts range between 1 and 5 inches, with yet still more rain to come. That's why not only we have flood warnings along the US 54 corridor from Yates Center to Nevada until noon at the latest tomorrow. Everyone else is either under a flood watch or a flash flood watch because of what we've seen over the past few days, because of a good cluster of moderate to heavy rainfall along and south of I-44 from Joplin and the Petro truck stop south. Look at this cluster of moderate to heavy rainfall running along the Kansas-Oklahoma line. That's just more rain on the way, signifying that our rain chances, they're not going anywhere as we go through the rest of the night. 49 in Joplin feels like 44 with an east breeze at 13 miles per hour. Despite all the clouds and the rain chances, there was actually a contrast in temperatures. 42 in Fort Scott at noon today to mid-60s around Grand Lake, and everyone else in between is trying to fall back into the 50s. But right now, temperatures are fairly uniform. Upper 40s to about lower 50s across the board, and I don't think these temperatures budge anywhere. As long as we keep the moisture in place, that means cloud cover and rain chances for us. Severe weather off to the west along the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles because of our front stalled just to our south. But this vigorous upper low, that's getting ready to bring a wallop of a snowstorm for parts of Colorado, if not the entire state. For us, though, we're focused on this front for the next few days. That's going to keep on bringing in the rain for tonight, maybe a break in the action for tomorrow afternoon, while any severe weather with this front, as it continues to work on in, stays off to the west. That being said, here's Sunday, 7 a.m., this front will have to pass on through, but I'm not seeing this resulting in a lot of strong or severe thunderstorms. More moderate to heavy rainfall, sure, but this is still something I want to keep an eye on. Not to mention the extra rain that will be on the way as well. Hopefully, if I can get this map to pop up. Okay, just being a little fussy, so I'll show you how much rain we'll see over the next few days coming up in the second half hour. The short term, the forecast for tonight, cloud cover, rain chances, a good bet through the morning, and hopefully a little bit of a break by lunchtime, allowing temperatures to warm up some. Let's go 49 in the morning, 58 by noon. Let's say afternoon highs around 62 if we can get a break in the action and some peaks of the sun underneath our partly So mostly cloudy skies. 62 on Sunday as we spring forward. Sunday morning, 63 on Monday. This system moves out. Mild and dry for Tuesday before we stick with Doug's pattern and see more storms in here by St. Patrick's Day, Jordan.
Rain, and more rain, but you do see some light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, dry time will be on the way. And again, as I promised everyone, I'll show you how much more rain we'll get in the next half hour.
Nick Kelly, thank you. Coming up, the Rose Garden celebration.
The Biden administration taking a victory lap on their first major legislative win. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. More on the event and Republican reaction coming up.
As the Biden administration celebrates the passing of the American Rescue Plan, Republicans say it's just the start of another 4 years of division on taxpayers' dime. Fox's Lauren Blanchard has more from D.C.
In the Rose Garden, President Biden and Vice President Harris celebrating their first major legislative win. The President, First Lady, Vice President, and Second Gentleman will spend next week crisscrossing the country to sell the American Rescue Plan directly to the American people.
This landmark legislation will get relief to families, get support to communities, and make sure more shots get in arms.
The $1.9 trillion bill was passed with Democratic votes only and signed into law on Thursday. Some $1,400 stimulus checks could even begin to arrive this weekend. The administration says that with the new funding and ramped up vaccinations, their goal is that by July 4th, it will be safe for Americans to gather in small groups.
Because of what you all did and passed, we had the money to go out and literally purchased hundreds of millions of vaccines.
Top Democratic leadership applauded their work.
This is the most significant piece of legislation in so many ways in decades. And we are just getting started. Help is on the way.
But Republicans who unanimously opposed the bill say their voices were left out. They also accused President Biden of taking credit for former President Trump's work on the vaccine.
How is he able to provide that shot? Operation Warp Speed.
Joe Biden actually got the vaccine. He got a shot in the arm before Donald Trump left office.
President Biden says while he is proud of the American Rescue Plan, he only sees it as the beginning of his work. His administration will likely focus on an infrastructure bill next. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Just ahead, the importance of getting back to normal.
A new report being sent to Congress urges schools to reopen. I'm Ray Bogan with why that report says not going back could have long-lasting effects. Coming up.
The pandemic began. More than 50 million children have had to shift to remote learning. Well, now a new report being released to Congress details the consequences of schools closing while warning what could happen to students if they stay home much longer. Fox News correspondent Ray Bogan has the latest on what all the report found.
I do definitely feel like I'm losing out on a lot of normal high school experiences.
The pain of missing school over the last year has been felt by parents and students alike.
I'm more concerned because that there's definitely a fatigue that's setting in for all of us.
According to a new report presented to Congress, the impacts could be long-lasting and even permanent if children don't go back now. The report is sponsored by 7 organizations, including the Walton Family Foundation and the American Enterprise Institute.
They've missed lessons. They've been struggling with remote learning and with Zoom sessions like we're in. And that struggle translates into falling behind academically.
The report states severe learning loss for many children, particularly children of color, will lead to lower educational attainment and lower future earnings. The findings back guidance from the CDC last month that said schools can safely reopen under a phased system. Teachers' unions have pushed back on reopening until teachers are vaccinated. President Biden said in a nationwide address Thursday night, the newly passed American Rescue Plan will help vaccinate more teachers and staff.
We can accelerate massive nationwide effort to reopen our schools safely.
The president says his education secretary's #1 priority is opening a majority of K-8 schools by late April. Ray Bogan, Fox News.
Coming up, Patrick Mahomes' new baby already receiving athletic scholarship offers from colleges. Talk about planning for the future. Chiefs star quarterback Patrick Mahomes' daughter isn't even a month old, but she already has a promising future as a soccer player. Here's why. And well, it all depends on if she eventually decides to pick up the sport. Texas Tech, where Mahomes attended school, announced through Twitter Wednesday that Sterling Sky Mahomes is going to receive a scholarship offer to the college in 2039. Sterling's mother played collegiate soccer, so athletics are kind of in the family's DNA now. I gotta think there's some fine print there somewhere, though. I mean, certainly little Miss Mahomes just doesn't have to, fly through grade school, fly through high school without caring how she does and get guaranteed a scholarship. It's unfair, right? All right, 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports. Coming away, daylight saving time is soon going to be here. And with Americans losing an hour of sleep, AAA has a warning.
Multiple New York congressional Democrats now calling for Governor Andrew Cuomo's resignation. I'm Brian Yennis in Brooklyn, New York. I'll have that story coming up.
All right, so daylight saving time is coming this weekend. Here's the yay awesome part. We're going to be springing forward into another hour of daylight. Here's the bummer. We're also going to be losing an hour of sleep. AAA once again warning drivers to make sure they're awake and alert when they hit the road, even if they're adjusting to a new sleep schedule. AAA spokesperson says that on a national level, whether it's springing forward or falling back for daylight saving time, the U.S. seems to experience more crashes when there's a change to the sleep schedule. And it's not just AAA that wants you to stay awake on the road.
I would say just because of the time change, it's a good idea always to not drive drowsy. And I do agree, you tend to make more mistakes, you react slower. I've seen a lot of bad drivers on the road.
According to the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety, drowsy driving plays a role in 10% of crashes. Local law firms helping out a local organization with a community first fundraiser. The Access to Justice firm saw just how the mini Hackney Community Service Center supported the residents during the February cold spell and wanted to give back to the center. Awesome. The city of Minneapolis today agreed to pay $27 million to settle a civil lawsuit from George Floyd's family over his death in police custody. The record settlement includes $500,000 for the neighborhood where Floyd was arrested. The announcement comes as jurors are being selected in the trial of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer who pressed his knee against Floyd's neck for about 9 minutes. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo responding to calls for his resignation following new sexual harassment allegations. Prominent New York Democrats now asking him to leave office. Fox News correspondent Brian Yennis has more.
Multiple New York congressional Democrats now calling for Governor Andrew Cuomo to step down amid sexual misconduct allegations and the nursing home scandal. The governor responding to those calls today, saying he has no plans to resign.
Politicians who don't know a single fact, but yet form a conclusion and an opinion are, in my opinion, reckless and dangerous.
New York Representatives Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Jamal Bowman calling allegations made by sixth accuser that Cuomo groped her late last year alarming. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler writing in part, quote, "The repeated accusations against the governor and the manner in which he has responded to them have made it impossible for him to continue to govern at this point." The New York State Assembly has launched an impeachment inquiry against Governor Cuomo. The investigation is expected to focus on recent sexual misconduct allegations and the nursing home scandal.
Do a review, get the facts, tell the facts to the people of the state, and then we take it from there.
Meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal is reporting in the days after Cuomo's first accuser, Lindsey Boylan, stepped forward, the governor's office contacted 6 former employees. Some say they saw the calls as intimidation attempts. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio calling for transparency.
What we're seeing here is a pattern of cover-up and a pattern of lies. The governor must resign.
And now a 7th accuser has come forward to New York Magazine. Journalist Jessica Bakeman writing that the governor sexually harassed her at a 2014 holiday party. In Brooklyn, New York, Brian Yennis, Fox News.
A bit later, new numbers showing a different side to this pandemic.
The pandemic has taken many things away, the most tragic being human lives. I'm Anita Vogel with the latest study revealing just how many Americans have lost a loved one to the virus. Coming up.
Another day with cloud cover stubborn to let go and rain chances sticking around as well. So the view you get from Indigo Sky, the time lapse that is, from Indigo Sky just outside of Seneca, Missouri, that's what everybody saw throughout the course of the day. And again, for everybody pretty much underneath the stubborn cloudy skies, we're just getting more rain that we don't need, but nonetheless, we saw rain working earlier today, a couple scattered areas of rain and storms early this evening, and with more developing off to our southwest, rotating on through. Ever since Tuesday, we've seen the rain amounts vary from just under 1/4 of an inch for some areas along the Kansas-Oklahoma line. For other areas, we've been ranging between 1 to 4, if not 5 inches of rain, with yet still more rain on the way. That's why along US 54, that is an aerial flood warning, taking us until noon tomorrow at the latest, and everyone else is either under a flood watch or a flash flood watch because of the rain we've seen recently. The rain's still out there right now for sure. In fact, we can zoom into a few areas. We got a good cluster of moderate to heavy rainfall from Carthage, Joplin, Mount Vernon down south along I-44, and definitely ready to pick back up as you work closer to Table Rock Lake. And then, once we hop back on the Kansas and Oklahoma side, look at this cluster of moderate to heavy rainfall with some embedded areas of lightning and thunder. Not strong or severe, but these are just signifying that rain chances are going to stick with us for the rest of the night. 49 in Joplin feels like 44 with an east breeze at about 13. Everyone knows sitting in the upper 40s to lower 50s, and these numbers are going to stay put as we go throughout the rest of the night. As our cloud cover remains in place, rain chances come on through. Any severe weather staying off to our west across western Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle, all along our stationary front parked just to our south, and not to mention this vigorous upper low ready to wallop the state of Colorado with quite an impressive snowstorm as we go through the rest of the weekend. For us, though, that upper low is going to continue to send more rain chances our way along this front that will stay mainly to our south for much of tomorrow. With that said, though, we should see some dry time on your Saturday, mainly during the afternoon, before the backside of this frontal system, that is, especially the cold front, rolls in Sunday morning and through much of the day on Sunday. And as these storms roll in, I'm not expecting anything in terms of strong or severe storms, something I want to keep an eye on, but all these rain chances before the system clears out could add to another 1 to 5 inches rain that we don't need, but we have to contend with before we get the system out of here on Monday. Hopefully the system didn't bog down on me here because I want to get you right to the forecast. In fact, we'll just get you right to the 7-day. We will start in the upper 40s in the morning, I think 58 by noon. We'll shoot for afternoon highs across the area around 62. We'll go to 62 again on your Sunday, then we'll go 63 on Monday. Thankfully for on Monday, once we get past a few morning showers, the system's out of here. Quiet on Tuesday with highs near 69. Rain chances, though, back in here for St. Patrick's Day and Thursday, Jordan, with maybe a chilly start to next weekend.
A lot of green on that weather map.
Too much green, and at some point, it'll all be gone.
Yeah, good. Nick Kelly, thank you. Coming up in sports, the Galena boys and Colgan girls looking to move on to state championship games. Plus, East Newton plays in the state quarterfinals for the first time in program history. Jacob Landert is on deck with highlights.
The Galena boys are back in the 3A state basketball semifinals. Only this time, they actually get a chance to play for a spot in the state championship. At Galena on the floor against Rock Creek this evening, aiming for a spot in that title game. Down 3, Hadley Price deep ball ties it up at 6. Second quarter, still a tight game. Brett Sarwinski, nice Euro step and the foul. Right before half, Tyler Little, he was huge in the post, puts back his own miss, ties it at 20. Third quarter, Bulldogs go on another run. Pass ahead to Kobe McLaughlin, gets the lead to 5. More from Sarwinski. He had 12 points, 10 boards for the game. This one makes it 38-31. Rock Creek comes back, but again, Little over the defenders. 16-8 tonight for Little. Galena goes on to win at 48-41. They'll face Heston in the state championship tomorrow night. 2A girls bracket, the Colgan Panthers in the Final Four for the first time ever. They play Valley Heights tonight. Check it out. Colgan gets a buzzer beater from Lily Brown. They win at 40-38. The Panthers face Sterling tomorrow in the 2A state championship. On the Missouri side, it's already been a historic season for the East Newton Patriots. The Patriots are in the state quarterfinals for the first time in program history, facing Blair Oaks tonight. Now, East Newton aims to keep the season alive and get to the Final Four for the first time. First quarter inbound to Gabe Bergen. Gets it to go. Patriots lead by 5 going to the second. Now in the second, Luke Northweather in the paint. Puts up the contested shot. Brings the Falcons within 3. Here, pass goes out to Kelton Sorrell in the corner. He drains the triple. Patriots still up 5 at halftime. Fourth quarter though, Jake Klosser drives. Scoops it in. Game tied at 34 after 3. In the fourth, Patriots trying to get back in at the pass to Sorrell for 2, but East Newton, historic season comes to an end tonight. They lose this one 44-40.
I'm so proud of this group. You know, they battled, and we had a lot of tough games, and we had a great year. And you know, it's hard right now, and I know it's hard on them, but they're great kids. They're a good basketball team, and we just got beat by, you know, a really good basketball team. So I couldn't be more proud and thankful.
The Nevada boys also on the floor tonight in the Class 5 quarterfinals. They're at Bolivar. Tigers fall in this one 60-47. Nevada finishes the season with a 22-6 overall record. The Carl Junction girls will be on the floor tomorrow in the Class 5 quarterfinals. CJ hits the road to face West Plains with a spot in the Final Four on the line. Now, the Bulldogs made the Final Four last year before COVID ended their season early. Now, if they want to get back, they're going to have to work for it, facing a West Plains team that's 26-3 so far this season.
Our kids that have returned, you know, certainly have a little fire in their belly to go back, and now we have that opportunity. So hopefully, you know, we come and we play well, and we're able to do that again.
We just need to play as a team and play together and play as hard as we can with all of our confidence and our skill that we've been building up throughout the year.
Finally, Missouri Class 3 State Wrestling Championships today. We got 2 local champions. Carl Junction's Jesse Cassett earns his second title at 182 pounds. And this other dude, now a 4-time state champ, Caden Auk from Neosho, he wins at 160 pounds. Neosho finishes second as a team. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Death is becoming a common unifier during this coronavirus pandemic. A new study reveals just how many people have lost someone to the virus. Fox News correspondent Anita Vogel has more on how the troubling numbers exist and how the Biden administration is trying to get the country to quickly achieve herd immunity.
The impacts of the pandemic are immense. According to a new Associated Press NORC poll, 1 in 5 Americans have lost a close loved one to COVID-19. In his address to the nation Thursday evening, President Biden acknowledged the pain while driving home a message of hope.
In the loss, we saw how much there was to gain in appreciation, respect, and gratitude.
But a year into the pandemic, and many folks are starting to get antsy. The AP poll found the number of people concerned about getting the virus is declining, with roughly 3 in 10 folks saying they're, quote, very worried about catching COVID-19. Americans who have previously lived through a public health crisis say this is not the time to get comfortable.
I've lived through AIDS. Now, at least with AIDS, you had to do specific things to get it. This, all you have to do is breathe.
Some people think there's nothing wrong with taking a slower approach to returning to normalcy.
I haven't had a meal at a restaurant for over a year, but I'm very happy to delay that by a couple of more months until the majority of Americans who want to be vaccinated can be vaccinated.
Meanwhile, President Biden is challenging states to make every adult eligible for the vaccine by May 1st in hopes of helping establish herd immunity faster. Anita Vogel, Fox News.
When we come back, and I'll wrap up our night by checking out some new toys meant to help children during this pandemic. It's been a year since COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic, taking a toll on everyone's overall well-being, especially children. But experts at the Toy Insider say there's a new toy trend that offers social emotional learning for kids to help them stay calm and teach them how to manage those feelings. Fox's Ash Dvorkin has this story.
A new emerging toy trend called In My Feelings offers toys that promote mental and emotional wellness.
The pandemic has had a lasting effect on everybody, but especially for kids. You know, they're missing out on school and clubs and sports teams and all that kind of stuff. And they're missing out on these really key social interactions with their friends. But toys can be a great tool to sort of practice and reinforce these social skills.
Experts at Toy Insider share some of the toys available to help kids build habits that will last a lifetime.
The Big Feelings Pineapple is all about helping kids identify different emotions. So you've got the super cute pineapple, 26 interchangeable parts and pieces, and kids can create different facial expressions on the pineapple to learn about what does happy look like? What does sad look like? What does frustrated look like? And they can even sort of compare different emotions because it's double-sided. Calm Mindful Nature Puzzles from Spin Master. Spin Master actually partnered with the KOAM app on this collection of puzzles. They're all 300 pieces, so not too challenging. And it's really a great way to sort of unplug, have some tactile play experiences, and you can also listen to a mindful meditation app while you play. The 4 Keeps dolls are all about spreading positivity and kindness. You've got these super cute 6-inch fashion dolls, but it also comes with these great little positive affirmations that kids can share. Pause the Calming Pup is coming out later this summer, and this is like a great meditative relaxation toy for when kids just need to take a breath. So it actually walks kids through 3 different breathing exercises. It's like the perfect little emotional support puppy for kids.
Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a panda in China celebrating its birthday with some ice treats. Have a great, safe weekend. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.